154 athletes from 19 different nations have come to OBERHOF for this weekend of racing on the FIL Luge World Cup. We're getting set for the mixed singles presented by CHER. And of the 19 nations, just about all of them will be taking part in today's competition. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer. This is the second ever mixed singles event. It debuted earlier this season in Lillehammer, Norway. It's an exciting one. It's a fun one. It takes two good runs for the men and the women to put down from top to bottom in order to hope for the podium. To tell us a little bit more about today's competition, getting ready to host on her home track the World Championships in 2 weeks, from Team Canada, Ember Lee Susko. Ember, welcome back.
Thank you, Tim. Again, thank you for having me.
Great to have you. And you stepped outside of the booth after the first run. Tell us a little bit about a slightly changing weather condition.
Yeah, it went from raining this morning and earlier on today to now it's turning into a bit of flurries, so the air temp's probably getting a bit colder, which will be better for our ice conditions.
Better for the ice conditions, not so much for all of these 154 athletes who are hoping to get away from OBERHOF later today, head to the airport, because the driving conditions could be a little tricky, but we hope it's very tricky and very slidey here on the track for the final 22 teams we have. As you see, the temperature is about 9 degrees Celsius cooler than it was yesterday at this time. So they do a great job to keep this track in condition. Credit the track chief, Ralph Heidenbluth, race director Holger Hendrick, ice meister Andre Becker. 2 races this season here. Johnny Gustafson getting ready to compete for the United States. Johnny was on the podium for the first time in his career in this event earlier this season in Lillehammer. What do you think, Ember? The usual suspects, Germany and Austria, the teams to beat?
Yeah, I think Germany and Austria definitely are our strongest teams, but I think our Australia and Swiss team could be a strong team with Natalie Mag being on the podium this weekend. I think USA could pull out some good runs. I think it'll be a bit of a toss-up, but you can always count on some Germans to put down some clean runs.
As for Ember's home country, Canada did not take part in the doubles, but they will have 2 teams here in mixed singles. So keep an eye on that man right there, Wolfgang Kindl, looking to make some history later today. If he's on the podium here in the mixed singles competition, and he's certainly one of the favorites to be on the podium, he will capture his 4th podium in a single weekend on the World Cup, which would be a memorable takeaway for this veteran athlete who has already accomplished so much, including a world championship and an Olympic medal. Now, is this snow going to be a factor? Are people going early, at least some of the stronger nations that are in the first half of the start list, are they a little bit excited about what's happening right now?
Potentially. OBERHOF is a pretty well-covered track, so it's not like Altenburg where there isn't a roof over those big, long straightaways. Here, I'm pretty sure the entire track is covered. Maybe some snow will blow in where the shades are open, but I don't think it should be a huge factor today.
They'll count them all the way down to the Germany #1 team featuring Max Langenhahn and Julia Tobitz. They'll be starters number 22. And as Ember just said, the track hopefully stays in good shape. One thing we know, the spectators are hanging around right to the end. This is always a great event. Do you know that there are over 300 volunteers that show up every time there's a World Cup in OBERHOF? They take care of the track, they take care of the spectators, the parking. There are 75 volunteers alone that are involved with catering. And why not? You have some of the best sausage stands in Germany right along the track.
Yeah, for sure. We love the volunteers that come out and make this happen, because without them, we wouldn't have a racing.
And I stand a little bit corrected. It seems like some of the fair weather fans may have peeked under cover, at least, because the bleachers aren't quite as crowded as they were a little earlier.
Yeah, maybe they've went to grab a glue vine to keep them warm.
That's right. But then that's an extra driving challenge if you have the snow and a couple of glue vines in your system.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully no drinking and driving's going on.
China number 2. In fact, we'll open up this competition with 2 teams from China. But here's Ying Li. Ying did not qualify for the World Cup this weekend. He did race in the Nations Cup on Friday, and he did race with Peixiang Wang earlier this season in Lillehammer in mixed singles, where they finished in 22nd place.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity for some of these smaller nations who maybe aren't making it into the 2-run race. That just gives them some more time in front of the cameras and to show what they've got. This run's shaping up pretty well, looking like some clean lines through here. Looking good out of 11 into big 12. Bit of a later entrance and some height on the exit, but manages it really well. Straight out of that finish curve.
To the finish, he hits the pad, opening up the gate for Hulian Hu. A reaction time, 1.988. We'll see how others do as we move along. One thing we do know is once she makes it down, if she hits the pad, it will be an official track record.
Yeah, that's awesome for them. It's always,
of course, they're the first to ever compete in this.
Yeah, it's always fun to, even if you are the first group of sleds down, you still get that record, and it's still a fun thing to have, just briefly. Yeah, Julian's putting down a great run here. She looks pretty clean. Bit of a bump into 14 there. Hoping for a clean exit there. And up to the pad she goes. Just
no
hits
issues
it.
at all. Well, she just grabbed the bottom of the pad. You have to hit it with a certain amount of force. Obviously, the clock stopped, so she did. 140.057.
Yeah, those were 2 pretty good runs, pretty clean, and it'll be interesting to see how they stack up to the rest of the nations here.
There used to be a situation in team relay where you'd see sometimes visually the pad get nicked, but the clock didn't stop, and then there were protests, hey, I got the pad. And then they changed it where you had to hit it with a specified amount of force. I don't know exactly what that number is. As we get ready for China number 1, Zhenyu Bao leading things off. He also did not qualify on Friday out of the Nations Cup. Have you been to either of these Asian tracks where the World Cup is headed after the Worlds to finish the season?
Unfortunately, I have not, and I will not be, unfortunately, this season. No one from Canada is heading over there. But definitely I would like to, at some point in my career, make it over. Oh, wow, that was a very high line there.
Looks like he's cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah, having a bit of a hard time there out of 11, and again, another bump into 12. He's trying his best to keep it on line and cleans it up out of 13 there.
To the finish, one Chinese team trying to catch another, hitting the pad, a 1 second disadvantage, and Ember, that I'm guessing is all a result of those mistakes somewhat high up on the track.
Yeah, those are some pretty big mistakes, and if you make your mistakes in the top of the track, unfortunately they do tend to magnify just because you're moving slower through the top than you are in the bottom. This is looking to be a bit of a cleaner run through here. Just really having some confidence in these lines, and it's looking good. She's looking confident.
This is the long straightaway to the finish, Kreisel. Kreisel being the German word for carousel. That makes sense when you have 360-degree turns. And hitting the pad, you need to hit it with 4 kg of force. That's the report we're getting, whatever that means in terms of physics. But they do it, but 0.7 of a second behind their teammates.
Yeah, a bit of a tough run there, and unfortunately, the woman just couldn't make it up, but I'm sure they'll be happy to just be in the race, maybe. And with that green light, you can always be happy.
So the green light, explain, Ember, what that means. We have green, red, and blue.
So green means you're all good to go. And then the red and blue lights mean that you get controlled. So either your sled gets checked or you get weighed.
19-year-old Theo Downey did not qualify for the World Cup, but he gets some action here. He and the other competitor for Canada, Dylan Morse, have been bouncing back and forth between seniors and juniors this year. Theo out of Alberta, teaming up with Caitlin Nash today.
Yeah, Theo's a really strong slider. I think he's been having a bit of troubles this week here, just with the limited amount of runs in Oberhof, but he's looking like he's putting together a pretty clean run here. He'll be looking to find some speed, I think. Yeah, looking good out of that crucial 13 there, putting his head back. Yeah, Theo's a newer slider to the World Cup circuit, so it's good to see him in this new event. It's super awesome.
So here's Caitlin Nash. Caitlin made a bit of history in Whistler several seasons ago when she teamed up with Natalie Corliss to not only compete in women's doubles, but compete before there was a women's doubles circuit. And they competed right up head-to-head against the men, right?
Yeah, that was incredible. That was arguably my favorite moment in luge, was watching that happen.
That's great.
Caitlin's a super strong slider. She's opening up that lead with these clean lines. Position looks good. Maybe a little hesitant there, but Caitlin's got her runs here and she's looking good. Little tap there, manages it very well. Veteran move there.
Caitlin finished 21st yesterday. As she makes her way to the pad, Canada will be in the lead, and they're in the lead by 3/4 of a second. So impressed, Ember, by what she did there on the straightaway between corners 13 and 14, because she hit, you saw her right leg fly up, but the ability to stay relaxed and not overreact was impressive.
Yeah, that was a really incredible correction. Out of 13 there will get you, and she really managed that well.
Well, it appears that we're moving right along without the slow-mo replays. No problem at this end. And one of the unique features of this brand new discipline of mixed singles is the ability for nations to team up. In particular, the nations that only carry one athlete. And there's only one Japanese athlete and one only from Team Ireland this year. So Seiya Kobayashi and Elsa Desmond, teammates today here in men's and women's singles, mixed singles.
Yeah, that's such a unique thing about this event, and it's really creating more space for more nations in the sport, which is super awesome to see. Yeah, Seiya putting down some good lines. Bit of a tap there into 11, but no problem for him.
Seiya travels and trains with Team USA, and now a major problem, which not only will affect his time, that maybe to a degree affects the timing, because the second athlete in these sports needs to anticipate when that gate's going to open, right?
Yeah, for sure. It can mess you up a bit. That straightaway can kind of get you out of nowhere sometimes, and unfortunately that put them back into the red. So we'll see if Elsa can't make up some time.
This pair finished 18th at the World Cup opener in this mixed singles in Lillehammer. Elsa Desmond, full-time on the luge tour this year, despite being a doctor in Iceland, an emergency room physician.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's good to see Elsa on the circuit sliding well in this new event. And she's putting down a pretty good run here. Clean lines. Just gently taps that wall out of there. No problem for her. And up and hits the pad.
Desmond hits in second place right now. Team Japan, Ireland, trailing Canada 2 and ahead of China 2. Elsa very instrumental in trying to raise the profile of Team Ireland, as she's helping to train a young athlete who competed last year at the Youth Olympic Games. Quickly moving on to Ukraine. specifically Ukraine 2. Leading things off, Andre Manzi. He'll be joined in a moment by Olena Smaha. They did race, or Andre raced in Lillehammer, but he and Olena Stetska finished with a DNF. They crashed on that Hundertfossen track.
Dang, let's hope they can put together some cleaner runs today. It's looking good at the moment. Into the green he goes. Putting together some good lines, good position. Ooh, bit of a skid there. Oh, and a big hit. All good.
It's amazing how problems can compound on a luge track. You have one skid, and it takes a while to get it back together, especially here.
Yeah, for sure. These corners are so tight together that problems seem to carry pretty heavily down this track, but they're still in the green, so no problem for Andre.
1800s up on Canada right now. And Olena Smaha, she's racing for the first time ever in this brand new format. Mixed singles. She finished 27th yesterday in the World Cup women's singles competition.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good to see Ukraine fielding two teams here. Yeah, wow, and she moves into the red. Nothing major, it didn't seem, but again, those little things will get you sometimes. Bit of a rough entrance into 12 there.
In a little bit, we'll see the other Ukrainian team featuring two athletes who finished in the top 20 in World Cup action. But let's see how Canada took the lead, holds on to the lead as Olena loses quite a bit of time to Caitlin Nash down there at the bottom. It's Canada 2 still out in front over Ukraine, and then the combo team of Japan and Ireland currently in third place in this mixed singles competition. We've had 5 come down, 17 still to go.
Track is clear for Canada 1.
Second of the teams from Canada, Dylan Morse, did just barely qualify over the weekend to race, and he did in fact finish 30th earlier today in the men's singles competition. In a moment, we'll see his teammate, Trinity Ellis.
Yeah, Dylan's also pretty new to the World Cup circuit, racing on and off junior and senior, and kind of just gaining that experience. Ooh, bit of a skid there. No problem.
Dylan, 20 years old. He's from Calgary. Were you in the sport early enough to race on that track in Canada, Olympic Park?
Yeah, I was quite young when I slid in Calgary, but it definitely was a big piece of my development in the sport of luge to have 2 tracks in Canada, so I was definitely lucky enough to slide there.
I know I'm a dreamer, but I'm still holding out hope that they someday reopen that one. Now here's Trinity Ellis. Hard to believe that at 22 years old, Trinity, just only 22, but is really the senior, the veteran member of all of these Canadian singles lugers.
Yeah, Trin is our veteran right now. She really shows it in her experience and her ability to slide. She's putting down a great run here. Bit of an early entrance into 11, but no problem there. Yeah.
Canada against Canada. One more stop of the clock. It's very tight between these two Canadian teams, within 0.05 of a second now.
Yeah, Trinity fighting the urge to drop her feet there quickly in the straightaway, and she managed it really well, building that lead, and that was awesome.
Yeah, she sure did. Great piece of driving down below. So Canada 1 takes the lead over Canada 2. And before we put this to bed, Ember, we've got you hosting the World Championships. Trinity's had some good results on the track in Whistler. I know it may be what was your first ever World Cup race. You had a top 10 there. All of you have to be feeling good about hosting.
Yeah, I think everyone's very excited to race in Whistler, race on our home track, and yeah, race on a North American track on our original time zone.
That time zone, for those of you who woke up, thanks so much. It's still just 5:30 in the morning in Whistler. Here's Team Romania. Valentin Cretu, he'll be followed by Karina Buzatoy. Together they had a 15th place showing in Lillehammer, Norway in the first ever mixed singles event.
Yeah, though the snow has stopped, you can kind of see in those top corners there's a bit of snow buildup in the top of the track. I don't think it's going to affect people too much, but just to note, a bit of a skid there into 10.
Valentin finished 25th earlier today. He's doing some nice driving here, really veteran lines. He is one of the veterans of the sport, a 4-time Olympian, and staying out in front right now, but briefly now falling behind Dylan Morse, 0.06 of a second.
Yeah, we'll see if they can make this up here in this run. That was interesting that he fell back into the red through the finish.
Karina Buzatoy had one of her career best results yesterday, an 18th place finish, which was, I believe, a couple of spots ahead of Trinity Ellis. So all things considered and being equal, this could be very close between these two, although Romania now falling a bit further in back of Canada.
Yeah, they're losing a bit of time. She's sliding some nice lines through here, so maybe her head's a little high. She's trying to push it back through that straightaway, so we'll see what we get out here.
Big uphill to the finish pad, hits with no problem. The 3600ths deficiency behind now both of the Canadian teams. So right there, Dylan and Trinity hold on to their spot, a little extra time in the leader zone. Do you call it the leader box?
Yeah, I think I would refer to it as the leader box.
That's what most people do, and you know why it's called that?
I don't.
It's because used to be in television coverage of sports, you would put the leader in a small box on the screen so you could see them while you were seeing the sled. So it was called the leader box, and that name stuck even though they're no longer really in a box.
Oh, that's interesting.
A little trivia for you.
Yeah.
Here's Leon Felder. Leon had a rough run earlier today in finishing in 20th place. That rough run in run number 2, so he'll look to atone a little bit. He and Nina Ziegler finished in 11th. Or I guess, yeah, no, Leon finished 11th with Verena Hofer in Lillehammer.
Yeah, interesting with the switch up of teammates from week to week. But yeah, Leon's looking really good here. Position's looking good. Some clean lines there.
And now, if he keeps it clean, he should pull away from Team Canada. You would expect that from Leon. I think he was in 14th place after run number 1.
Oh, no!
Having the same problem he had
gosh.
in the first heat, or the second heat earlier today.
Oh, and he will not make it back up that hill. That's the issue with this Oberhof outrun, is it's very steep up to the pad. That's an unfortunate... That's very unfortunate. That's kind of the reality of that straightaway, is little things can turn a bit bigger quite quickly with that entrance of Kreisel.
Rough weekend for Leon, who is one of the most popular athletes on the entire circuit. As you see briefly, Nina Ziegler walked away. Leon looked a little shaken up after a crash in the same place earlier today. I'm glad to see he was back on the sled. And it's not uncommon, Ember, that the same parts of tracks tend to bite athletes.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely your challenging spots, and that exit 13 will get you. And honestly, I thought he saved that little tap and maybe a bit of an overcorrection. Ended up in that tip over in the entrance of the Kreisel.
Great to see the thumbs up. The shrug of the shoulders, not as great, but Leon's okay, and he'll head to the World Championships. So Dylan Morse and Trinity Ellis continue to hang on the top spot as Canada is 1-2 in the standings. 7 sleds down, 15 to go. And Anton Dukosh grabbing those handles now. He'll team up with Juliana Tanitska. Anton finished 19th earlier today, coming off of a top 10 finish last weekend in Winterberg.
Yeah, this could be a pretty strong team here. I know Juliana has a very fast start, so that'll be something to watch. Yeah, these lines are looking good. Anton's a very confident slider with that head pushed back. Looks really good. Yeah, looking good through this 11-12 combination.
The head's pushed back, but folks watching, keep an eye later on when you see Felix Locke compete, because you will not even see Felix's chin. He is entirely horizontal on the sled. That comes with knowing the track.
Yeah, very fast start time there. She's got a quick start.
Anton did his part, opening up a pretty big lead over Canada. Tanitska had her first World Cup race at age 16. And Ember, that wasn't just a one and wait for a few more years. She's been pretty much a regular on the World Cup ever since then.
Yeah, Juliana's been on the circuit for a long time. She may be young, but she's definitely entering those veteran years of how the World Cup works. So it's good to see her putting down some clean lines here and opening up that lead.
She's 21 years old, from the city of Kremenets, and calls her favorite track Whistler. So she is salivating over the prospects of a good World Championship. And Canada finally falls as Ukraine takes over the top spot for the time being, just a little over a quarter of a second ahead of Canada 1.
Yeah, I think they can walk away happy with that. Those were 2 clean runs of good fast start time.
Juliana will take off that helmet and her hair flies all the way, most of the way down her back. So she needs to be very aerodynamically cautious. Okay, here we go with another one of the mixed teams. Slovakia will be followed, teamed up with Argentina. Here's Josip Nenes, a respectable 13th place result for Josip, who will be on his way to his 6th Olympic Games if he qualifies next year at 45 years old.
Wow, that's incredible. 6 Olympic Games is mind-blowing. Yeah.
His Olympics dates all the way back to the last Italian Olympics, 2006 in Turin, Torino. What were you doing in 2006, Ember?
I was just 1 year old in 2006, so
there you go.
Wasn't thinking about luge then, but he's showing his years, and that run looked great. That position, just putting his head back, you can see the confidence in how he slides.
Could be about a 0.2 of a second advantage. Yes, a quarter of a second given to Team Argentina's Veronica Ravenna. Veronica finished 26th yesterday. This pair ended up in 13th place in Lillehammer. Veronica has briefly given the lead away now to Ukraine. She grew up and learned her craft on the track, the World Championship track in Whistler.
Yeah, I'm sure Veronica's very excited to race World Championships. Technically on her home track, though, she doesn't race for Canada. I would consider it her home track for sure, so she's putting together some good lines here. Looking good.
Very much so. Looking forward to seeing the Ravenna family when we get there. They double as the Argentinian Luge Federation.
Yeah, for sure. Fortunately, I don't think she's going to be able to make it into the red, into the green.
You know, she kept it close, closer than it could have been. 600ths only is the difference between these two teams. Ukraine now leading the way with the Slovakia-Argentina team in 2nd place.
Yeah, for sure.
As Veronica leaves off of the side of the track, we turn our attention back to the top team. Poland, Maciej Sokovic, Klaudia Domaracka will join them in a moment. They finished in 21st place in Lillehammer. I was there. I don't remember exactly what happened, but there had to have been a couple of mishaps, perhaps out of curve 13, for them to be back in 21st.
Yeah, into the green they go already, so that's a good start. Putting together some good lines here. Yeah, he's got that confident, maybe picking his head up a little bit, but overall his position looks good, aerodynamic, rolling for that big 12 corner. And so body language is very important on this track with these big sweeping corners. Keeping your body moving is what will bring you speed here in Oberhof.
So the advantage is just 200ths of a second for 24-year-old Klaudia Domorodska, who finished 19th yesterday on this Oberhof track, which she calls her favorite in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. With this being her favorite track, hopefully she can put down some good lines here. Looking confident in what she's doing, which is always good to see. Yeah, and into the green she goes, so she's making some speed here for sure. Building it in the bottom.
That was a little shaky off of 13, but cleaned up pretty quickly.
Yeah, she really pushed her shoulders back, and that can create some good stability for her, so looking good up to the pad.
Times are a lot tighter. That's kind of fun, Ember. I mean, we have now 3 within 1300ths, and you don't expect really tight times when you have a situation of 2 runs. I mean, we're talking about a minute 38.
Yeah,
so that's kind of fun.
It's really fun when racing is close, especially with 2 sleds. Makes it a bit more exciting.
Throwing that shield down is American Tucker West. At the World Cup opener, Tucker teamed up with Summer Britcher to finish 10th in Lillehammer. We will see Summer in a little bit, but today Tucker is joined by Ashley Farquharson. Tucker finished in 10th earlier today, moved up from 11th into the top 10 in run number 2 with the men's singles.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tucker's got a very strong start, which we can see as he goes right into the green there. Looking good, trying to push that head back, it looks like. Yeah, Tucker looks like he's having a great run here.
His intermediate time, they don't give a start time in this mixed singles event, but his first split the fastest, obviously, as you see, still well into the green.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it appears that the singles are having a bit of an easier time out of that Kreisel and managing. We saw some doubles hit really hard, but not to jinx it, but the singles are definitely having a bit of an easier time out of there.
Not uncommon from track to track where we see different profiles, different lines from the singles and doubles athletes. Here's Ashley Farquharson. She didn't qualify for the mixed singles at the opening race, but she has by and large been the strongest of the female racers the last few weeks, especially this week with Emily Sweeney not on hand. Emily part of a podium in Lillehammer.
Yeah, Ashley has had a great season this year. Watching her open up this lead is awesome. She's really building. She's a really strong slider. And it's exciting to see what she can do.
USA number 2 to the finish. No problem with the pad. That hasn't really been an issue all day. 1.2 seconds up on the rest of the field for Tucker West and Ashley Farquharson.
Yeah, wow, she really opened up that lead for them. So that'll be interesting to see where that takes them.
Great to hear a noisy crowd once again. They cheer all of the competitors, German or not, with a little extra decibel level coming when Team Germany makes their way down the track. Here is one of the great stories of the weekend here in Oberhof. The Kohala siblings, Svante and Tove. On their home track in Norway, they teamed up for a 14th place finish. They're doing even better here in Germany, both of them coming off of what may be career best 11th place finishes. Each of them had an 11th place finish over the weekend.
Yeah, that's incredible. Svante winning the Nations Cup was really great to see here. I think he likes this track. Maybe he looks good on this track at least, and he slides quite good lines here, so it'll be interesting to see where they can end up.
Their mother traveled from the island off of Stockholm here to Oberhof to watch the action. She's in the stands. Svante trailing Tucker West now by a fairly wide margin. They finished 1 spot apart earlier today in the men's singles competition.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe he just is feeling a little tight with a bit of extra pressure maybe, or just couldn't quite find the speed there. as he
Well, he
opens.
kept it close down at the bottom, so it's 1700s. It's still a lot of work for Tova to try to catch Ashley Farquharson. And you can see now the snow, you mentioned that, Ember, really starting to pile up at the top of the track, and the snow, though, tapering off in the air.
Yeah, it's interesting. As I look out my window here, there's no snow falling from the sky, but you can definitely see a bit in the track. So hopefully that doesn't affect people too much. But Tova is putting down a great run here. She has impeccable position. Her head is really far back pretty consistently, and I aspire to have a position like Tova.
Just a little work, I'm sure you'll accomplish it. She had to do quite a bit of steering there around the exit of the Kreisel to get the proper line up the outrun. It's a second place time, but distant second behind those two, Tucker West and Ashley Farquharson of USA 2.
Yeah, Ashley really put down a heater there. I think they might be leading for a bit, maybe riding that elevator up a bit. But
well, we've got
runs.
a pretty strong team coming up now in the 6-time World Cup winner, Kristers Apperjots, and to be factual, 5 times he's won World Cup races, including most recently at the end of last season on his home track. He teamed up with his sister Kendia in Lillehammer, and they finished just off of the podium in 4th place in mixed singles. Today, Kristers will race with Alina Bota.
Yeah, that was so awesome to have the siblings racing together, and maybe we'll see it again in Whistler, where you never know. Yeah, Kristers is putting down some good lines. Very confident looking slider. Sure, he has lots of runs here.
He's also trailing Tucker by about 0.2 of a second, certainly with the ability to pick up some time down here at the bottom, where Kristers' size and the Latvian sleds often do well, but he had to do a lot of correcting.
Yeah, a little feet tap there, some driving in the straights. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll help his chances of closing that lead, but let's see what Alina can do.
Alina with 1 victory this season. That was at home in Sigulda. Earlier today, or yesterday rather, she had a 12th place result in the women's singles competition.
Yeah, great to see her on top of the podium on her own home track. And we'll see how she can do down this track. These lines are looking good. Her position looks pretty good there. Maybe a little hesitant.
Her reaction time was the 2nd fastest reaction time from an athlete who is one of the fastest starters in the sport.
Yeah,
Same problem as Kristers.
just a little tap there. She handled it quite well. Sometimes that straightaway can just be a little unruly as she taps out there, hits the pad.
Regroups in time to get that pad, but staying in back of both the Americans, USA 2, and Team Sweden. 13 have come down, 9 remain, which means that Sweden is officially in the top 10 in this race, which is pretty exciting.
That's awesome. I think they're going to be stoked with that. Super great to see them in the top 10.
Dominik Fischnaller grabbing those handles, coming off of an 8th place result earlier today. Dominik, a podium finisher a couple of weeks ago, teamed up with Sandra Robacher earlier in the season for the only other mixed singles event where they finished 8th. The 3rd and final event in this discipline this season will be held on the track in Beijing in late February.
Yeah, Dominik's a great slider. He's been on the circuit a while now. Just can consistently put down good lines here. Looking good. And he sticks it, puts his head back right out of 13 to try and gain that speed as he moves into the green.
This was tight, 0.05 of a second. Can he open it up a little more, give a little bit of a cushion to Verena Hoffer? Yes, he does. Great job down at the bottom by Dominik Fischnaller. So 1/4 of a second to play with. Verena Hoffer trying to keep pace with the USA's Ashley Farquharson.
Yeah, that was incredible. He really did open up a lead there, so we'll see if Verena can keep up with that.
Here's the first telltale sign. She's lost about a tenth. Still a lot of track left.
Oh, into the red she goes. Interesting. Nothing major appeared to happen, but...
So is it a great run by Ashley that we're looking at?
Yeah, Ashley really put down a run. So I think, unfortunately, for Italy, that's what's happening.
And Tucker, I think Tucker just verified what we suspected, pointing at Ashley. So she probably put down an incredible run because none of the subsequent teams, some of them pretty good athletes, had any opportunity to catch up to him. So it's USA 2 still in the lead. And here we go with the second of the two Latvian teams, Ginsberzinch. Grabs those handles, 4 paddles. Again, unlike team relay, here in the mixed singles, they go from their respective start areas. In fact, Gins just passed the spot where his teammate Candia Aprayot is getting ready to go.
Yeah, that's a super fun aspect to this event, having them going from their distinctive start heights, but having the gate aspect still happen at the different start heights is very interesting.
Swinging back and forth a little bit into this 11-12 combination.
Yeah, a bit of a later entrance into 12 just means a bit more work for him, but no problem there. Little tap in that straightaway, but doesn't seem to be a problem, but maybe losing a bit of time with that.
That's quite a deficiency, 0.3 of a second. A lot of work here for Candia Aprayot, who finished 4th at the World Cup opener in mixed singles. At the time, she was teamed up with her brother, Christers.
Yeah, let's see if Candia can close this gap a bit and see if she can make a gain on Ashley.
Candia finished in 10th place yesterday, 3 spots behind Ashley, losing a little more time now to the American.
Yeah, unfortunately her lines are looking good, but she's just not quite finding the speed there. Sticking it straight out of 13, looking good.
This is a single run race. It's 2 runs if you count the man and the woman, but there's no second heat. So it's one and done. Latvia's day, their weekend is through. 0.5 of a second in back, sitting in 3rd place at the moment. So we have 15 down, 7 still to come. The standings, United States 2 in first, followed by Italy 1, Latvia 1, Sweden, and Latvia 2. Those are the top 5, with the second American team getting ready at the top. Johnny Gustafson now, a northern New Yorker from the United States. He lives about an hour and a half away from the track in Lake Placid. Johnny had a podium finish at the World Cup opener in Lillehammer in mixed singles with Emily Sweeney, where they placed 2nd behind the Germans.
Yeah, we'll see if the Americans can gain on the Americans. See what Team 1 and 2 can do. Johnny's looking good here.
Johnny coming off of a couple of subpar weekends on the World Cup where he's finished 20th and 18th. Still trying to catch up to his teammate Tucker West, as this clock will stop in a second here. Give us an indication. 1900's back.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a gap there. We'll see what it ends up being once he hits that pad and see how much work Summer's got to do.
Well, Johnny picked up a little time on his teammate Tucker West down at the bottom. 1600s. Summer Bridger, a 5-time World Cup winner, certainly capable of doing it. She finished 15th yesterday in the 2-run World Cup race.
Yeah, for sure. Summer's really putting her head back, showing her experience here. Losing a bit of time there. Ooh, big skid.
Skidding big time.
unfortunately, that's not going to help them out there. Still sticking with that head back, trying to gain as much time as she can.
This is going to cost them dearly.
Yeah.
Certainly not the first place. How many spots will it cost them? 6. So a rough bottom part of the track where Johnny Gustafson loses some time to Tucker West. Summer Bridger loses a lot of time with some pretty costly skids.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's just not room for mistakes like that to land yourself on the podium. So great job handling it with what she had. Yeah, just too much pressure off there breaks you out.
The United States still in the lead. It's USA 2, the other team. They have not yet made it onto the podium this weekend. In fact, the only nations to be on the podium all weekend long have been Austria and Germany, with 1 podium position by Switzerland. That was Natalie Mogg. She's coming up in a moment as the teammate of this Australian, Alex Ferlazzo. They finished in 9th at the World Cup opener in Lillehammer.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what these two can pull off together. Alex was briefly in the green there. He had a great first run today, so I think he's hoping to find some speed here.
Yeah, he had a good first run. He dropped out in run number 2 with some problems down below. He ended up in 14th place.
Yeah. Yeah, his lines are looking good here. He's still in the red just a bit. So
for Alex, it's winter year-round as he returns home to Australia for the months of the Northern Hemisphere's summer.
yeah, as he hits the pad there, there's a bit of a gap there, but I think if anyone can do it, maybe Natalie can make up this time here.
Natalie had 2 terrific runs yesterday in earning a rare podium. She was also on the podium last year at the World Championships in the sprint event and had a podium earlier in her career on her home track in St. Moritz.
Yeah, it's awesome to see some other nations on the podium. This run's shaping up to look pretty good.
Natalie trains with the Germans. She is losing time. This is a bit surprising. I haven't seen a lot of major mistakes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think she just can't quite make it up based on how great Ashley's run was.
138.131 is only a 4th place finish. Things were looking pretty solid for a while as Alex kept it close for Natalie, but something along the way happened. And we just hope that thing that happened isn't a quickly deteriorating track.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure if the track conditions are playing into this, but there's definitely a possibility.
Well, we'll get a really early indication now because we're down to our final 4 sleds. The United States, USA 2, still out in front, but all of the next basically amount to 8 athletes who are the best in the world so far this season heading to the World Championships. It begins with Austria 2, that man right there with the Tyrolean Alps painted very well on his helmet. Nico Gleicher, 2 victories on the World Cup. He's in 2nd place in the World Cup standings. He entered the weekend leading the World Cup.
Yeah.
Fell off with a 4th place finish.
Yeah, a bit of a fun story there with him and I believe Max were tied at the beginning of this weekend. So
exactly.
That was a bit of a fun face-off.
Indeed. So Nico should keep it up with Tucker based on what we've seen from him all weekend. Let's check out at this first split time. Tucker always fast at the start, the top of the track. 200s. This could turn green pretty soon. That's what we at least would expect if the track will yield it, and it does.
Yeah, for sure. Nico's putting down some really great lines here. Just showing his confidence there, putting that head back and building that lead. Bit of a tap out of there, but I don't think it should cost them too much time.
1900s for Lisa Schulte, who was really catapulted to excellence with that somewhat surprising World Championship last year. She has backed that up with I believe, a top 5 in every race since those World Championships, certainly every race this year.
Yeah, Lisa's had a great season this year, and ever since those World Championships, she's been sliding really well. It's been really fun to watch.
Not really gaining a lot right now on Ashley Farquharson, so we're getting another indication how good the Americans' run is. But that cushion should be enough to give Austria the top spot.
Yeah, we'll see. Losing just a little bit, but I think Lisa should be able to hold on to the green here.
To the pad, Austria takes over the lead from the United States, but by just 0.08 of a second. So for Lisa, it was the second fastest run. Ashley Farquharson still has the fastest among the women, but Nico did his job, as you see, building up a 0.2 of a second cushion for Austria.
Yeah, wow, that really shows what an incredible run Ashley put down there. Unbeatable at this time, so good to see. Good to see that.
Yeah, it's been an incredible run for Lisa Schulte this year. She was in the shadows of Madeleine Egla for several seasons, and now showcasing she's among the best. Felix Locke will be teamed up with Merle Frebel. Frebel, a hometown athlete from here in Oberhof, and now the Bavarian Felix Locke. And as I alluded to earlier, let's watch his form, Ember, because no one does it better on this track. When we get down near the bottom, he'll have that head tucked way back.
Yeah, Felix is a true veteran on the circuit. His position is consistently fantastic, sliding really well in the green there. Looking good.
No victories for Felix yet this season, but several podiums, including earlier today. And these two had a podium finish, third place at the mixed singles opener in Lillehammer.
Yeah, really pushing his head back. You can't even see it through that straightaway. It's just building speed there.
So Merle Frebel very much at home on this track. She won a World Cup sprint event here and has had a podium here as well.
Yeah, Merle's a great slider. This is her home track, and she really shows it. Really just feeling confident, or looking confident and comfortable on it. It's great. Opening up that lead big time as well. It's good to see.
Germany looking to score another win on this weekend, the final weekend of racing in their home nation this season.
Yeah, we'll see if she can stick it out of here, and that looks great up into the pad.
Indeed, Felix has been loaded with fist pumps this weekend. He's really become a great leader and teammate on this German program.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think Merle's the first person to step ahead of Ashley there, so two great
exactly
runs.
Right. I didn't catch the split. How far ahead was she?
I think it was just under 0.2.
All right, that's not a small amount.
No, it's definitely a pretty large amount in the sport of luge.
And that's why Germany not only pushes the United States to third, but they are nearly a half second up on Austria with two teams remaining. Not surprisingly, one from Austria and one from Germany, but Norbert Locke, Felix's father, cheering at the top. Max Langenhahn also celebrating while he awaits his run for the top of the podium.
Yeah, that's great to see.
Photographers love that. Okay, we have a little bit of history on the line here. Should Austria end up in first or second at the end of this run, for this man, Wolfgang Kindl, it will be podium number 4 for a single weekend. He's already been on the podium in men's doubles, men's singles, and mixed doubles, falling behind Felix right now.
Yeah, let's see what Kindl can do. He's a great slider, as we've seen all weekend, and it would be truly incredible to see him on all 4 podiums this weekend.
And he'll be teamed up here in a moment with the fastest woman on ice, Madeleine Egla, waiting at the top. A little bit of a skid. It sounded like it, at least.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a bump there. Not your fastest line, but looks like he's losing a bit of time with that. Head pushed all the way back there. Another little tap out of 14 there.
We'll cut him some slack. It's been a long weekend for Wolfie, but let's see if Madeline can cut into that 3/10 of the lead. Keeping in mind a 1 or a 2 down here at the bottom will give Austria their podium, and for Wolfgang Kindl, another podium, his 4th of the weekend. Egla won the race yesterday.
Yeah, it looked like she maybe had a little bit of a problem at the start there, just maybe cutting it close to that wall, but we'll see if she can make up some time in the bottom here.
Madeline did not race in the opening mixed singles event on what was really her only rough weekend of the season in Lillehammer.
Yeah, I'm sure she's excited to be in this mixed event this weekend. Fortunately, I don't think she's making up that time.
No, this is going to be very close. They may fall into 3rd. They do.
Yeah.
So Wolfie's podium run is going to depend on a mistake by the final team from Germany. And Ember, we don't really expect that to happen, do we?
Yeah, you know, anything can happen. Again, it was interesting. It looked like Madeline kind of broke that pad off again, so we'll see if they can switch it up quick.
All things considered for Wolfgang Kindl, it's a weekend of 4 races, 3 podiums, and, oh, by the way, a 4th place as well.
Yeah, not too bad of a weekend at all. I'm sure he can walk away very happy with whatever happens. But yeah, that was that little blip at the start that Madeline had that maybe contributed to some time loss.
Well, this race, World Cup racing here in Oberhof, and for that matter, all racing on the World Cup in Germany, concludes now with the final pairing, a pair of local heroes. Max Langenhahn, fresh off of his victory, will start things off. He'll be teamed up with Julia Tobitz. Julia from not far away, outside of Dresden, but of course calls Oberhof her home now. And this is her home track as well. You will hear some cheering down below if Max completes the double on the weekend.
Yeah, that would be awesome. You can hear it already. Everyone's excited for their hometown hero. As he's in the red right now, though, so let's see if he can build some time.
Let's not forget that these two paired up for the victory in the opening World Cup race in Lillehammer, so they'll look to make a 2 for 2 in this brand new format.
Yeah, for sure. Not trailing too far behind Germany, too, but I'm surprised he's still in the red. I'm sure maybe he'll be moving into the green here.
500s in beautiful form. He knows this line into 14. Will this turn green before the pad? If not, I bet it will at the pad.
No,
but it's close.
Yeah,
Now, Julia, 400s against Mirla, that's absolutely doable.
Yeah, for sure. If anyone can do it, I think Julia can do it. She's got lots of experience here. Very confident slider. She looks good. Her head's back.
Here's our first indication, but Julia, remember, is fast at the bottom part of the track. She's lost a lot of time.
Wow.
Is that too much, Ember?
That's a lot of time to be making up if she's already bleeding, so this will be a very interesting finish here. Unexpected, no major mistakes, and she's just bleeding time there.
This will likely be second place ahead of the Austrians, but it's not enough to catch Felix Lach and Mirla Frebel as they capture gold here. Max Langenhahn always calm, always mellow. He walks away, win-lose. And in this case, second. Smiling Julia has her second place finish of the weekend.
Yeah,
and
wow.
It is Felix Lach. You know, I said it earlier, Ember, there's never a season where Felix isn't winning at least one race.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's done it today with Mirla Frebel.
Yeah, that was a bit shocking, I'd say. Definitely expected them to pull out a win, so you never know in the sport of luge, truly. Oh.
Yeah, Max, what was interesting about the last 5 or 6 teams is we didn't see any major mistakes. Clearly there are minor mistakes and we don't pick them up, but maybe this late in the race, it's all it took. There were a few little corrections to cost you a lot of time.
Yeah, and there's potential for ice deterioration as well. You can see in that straightaway of 14, you could see some lines through the frost building up there. So lots of different variables, and you never really know.
Well, no big surprise. The Germans and the Austrians, they hold down all of the top 4 spots, with the United States in 5th place, Italy in 6th, followed by the Latvians. And once again, a top 10 finish for Lazo and Mag, the combined Australia-Switzerland team. So I throw this your way, Ember, as we get ready to head to your home in Whistler. Will there be stopping Germany and Austria at the biggest event of the season, the World Championships?
I sure hope so. I hope we can see some Canadians on some podiums, but you never know until it happens.
I like your pride, and from my neutral observation, I sure hope so, that we just see some great stories. We see the drama shared a little bit amongst all of the nations that work so hard to do well from week to week.
For sure.
Ember, we're going to let you go. We have a lot of traffic to take care of with awards and some of the interviews. You have some traffic to contend with on the Autobahn on your way to Frankfurt. I wish you safe travels and, more importantly, the best of luck at the World Championships.
Thank you so much, Tim. Have a great day.
Thanks, Ember. Great job by Emberly Susko, Team Canada, her announcing debut. So a great finish here, to the delight of these Thuringian fans, as Max Langenhahn wins earlier today. Mirla Frabel teams up with Felix Lach for the victory in today's final competition. Flowers went to some of the athletes, and these little stuffed animals go to the rest of them in this race. Stuffed snowman. That wouldn't be an animal. So the situation for you Luge fans is a weekend off from racing. We'll all get to relax a little bit. Everyone but the athletes. They'll hop on planes to Canada mostly on Tuesday, and they'll begin what's called annual international training week, which always precedes the World Championships, to get a little extra time to guarantee smooth and fair competition. We'll pick things up at the beginning of February. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will be the racing days for the World Championships, with Thursday the date for this event, the mixed singles and mixed doubles, and then Friday and Saturday they will host the traditional 2-run World Championship races. The weekend will conclude Saturday evening, local time in Canada, with the team relay. It's all for the World Championship. This was for the mixed singles title here in Oberhof. 3rd place to Austria, 2nd place to one German team, and then the victory to Germany too, Felix Lach and Mirla Frabel. Standing by for interviews. Live German TV grabs the local athletes generally, but here we go to the 3rd place team. Victory for Germany. Let's hear from Lisa and Nico from Team Austria with the bronze.
Guys, congratulations. It's the first time that in the mixed singles Austria is on the podium. How was the track for you?
Thank you. It was good. Even if the weather wasn't the best today, it was a bit snowy and not the fastest, but I think we did a good job being on the podium today.
Thank you.
Lisa with the comments, Nico with the smiling face. The Germans with the top 2 places. It'll be a little time before we get to Team Germany for those interviews. We're not going to go off air, although I'll take this opportunity to sign off and let you enjoy the interviews on your own. Looking forward to seeing everyone in Whistler. And until we get there, thanks for all of the great racing here the last 3 weeks in Germany. As we've got highlights of some of the top action here, we'll stand by for German interviews. But great pictures, great sounds, and for Vera, our producer, and our live streaming producer, Chris, and our entire FIL television crew, along with my broadcast partner for this race, Emberly Susko. I'm Tim Singer saying so long for now. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in Whistler for the World Championships.